Hello, my name is Paul Gallagher. First and foremost, I wanted to apologize for not being able to be there today to meet you guys all in person. My wife is actually very, very pregnant, and our little dude is going to be arriving any moment now. So I need to be at home and help out with the kiddos and also be ready to grab my hospital bag and make a mad dash when he decides to make his grand appearance. I did want to put something together though for you to teach you a little bit about my course and also give you some information on some of the different resources your kiddos have available to them as we move through this year. So, as I said, my name is Paul Gallagher. This is actually my 15th year teaching here at MPA. I came here to Flagstaff in 2005, went to NAU, ended up graduating, did my student teaching over at Flag High, and then ended up getting a job at MPA right after that. Been here ever since. This year, I'm actually the sole geometry teacher, but previous to this, I was teaching pre-algebra, algebra 1, geometry, and algebra 2. I really, really enjoy teaching geometry just because it's a whole different beast when it comes to the math courses. Outside of school, I'm the dad of two little boys, and I have one more on the way, another boy. So it's actually going to be three boys at my house. It's going to definitely be an adjustment and a little bit of madness having three boys running around. Before I jump into the specifics about my actual class, I did want to show you the Google Classroom that I have because that shows a lot of the resources available. So this is my Google Classroom for period 1, but they're all pretty much the same. As you can see, I have my stream here where I'll post some comments or post some information, for example, telling the students about an upcoming quiz. But where you're going to find most of the information for my class is going to be under the classwork tab. You have a section for homework, a section for notes, and then the other portion. This other portion, one of the things in here is the syllabus. While I know you can read over it on your own, I did want to just show you a few of the most important parts. As you can see, the grading scale is what you would expect, and I have listed what all the point values are for all the assignments and the assessments. If we look at the attendance portion here, I think this is something that not all parents and all students are familiar with, so I thought I would touch on it. One of the things is that if a student misses more than 10% of the semester, which is about 9 days per semester, there's an MPA policy, which is inside of the student handbook, that states that they are not permitted to attend any field trips, including competitions or other school-sponsored events, and may even not receive credit for that semester. I've never seen NPA actually move through with not giving credit. But we all know how important it is for students to actually be in the classroom to be able to learn effectively. One of the other things is that if a student is gone and it's an unplanned absence, for example, they were sick or something like that, they automatically get an extra day for every day they were gone to get caught up. Whereas if it is a planned absence, if they already knew it was happening, such as if they're gone for a sporting event, they do not automatically get that extra time. Now, I brought up those 9 days per semester. I want to make it clear that this is not supposed to be penalizing students who have a chronic health issue or something like that. It's more just asking that parents and students do not plan vacations for several weeks during the semester. If a student has a chronic health issue, the school will definitely work with them on that. One of the other things that this brings us to is just athletes. I know that many of my students are actually athletes as well. It's very, very challenging for students to juggle academics and athletics, especially when oftentimes they're gone for sporting events and not getting back until midnight. It is very important that they come and meet with me before they're going to be gone if they would like to have some kind of altered due dates. If a student does not come and talk to me before they're going to be gone, the expectation is that they will watch the video of the lesson they missed and have the homework turned in that was due that day on the day that it was due, and then also have the homework for the next day as well, for the day that they would be coming back. Please, if you know that your child is going to be gone for a sporting event, please remind them to come talk to me. before they're gone. As for the homework, I give homework pretty much every day. I'll show you an example of the homework. I try to keep it pretty short. If a student does not have the homework completed on the day it's due, they can turn it in the next day for 2/3 of the credit. And then after that, they're not able to turn it in. The main reason is I do not want them to get into a hole where they have many, many homework assignments that they are needing to turn in right before the test. It's also developing bad study habits as well. Now, for tests and quizzes, if a student is able to keep up with all of their homework assignments for the whole entire chapter, and then they get to the end of the chapter, take the test, and struggle on it, by them going over and doing all the homework assignments, it's showing me that they have really been trying for the whole entire chapter and have been developing their study skills. And maybe they just struggled on that test or had a bad night. What I do in those situations is if they have actually completed all those homeworks for the chapter, I allow them to retake the test, not midterms or finals and not quizzes, but tests can be retaken, and I average the two scores up to an 80%. What they have to do is meet with me to look over their old test. Sometimes I have them complete another review, and then they need to take that retake within 1 week of getting their graded test back. So you can look over the rest of the syllabus, but I thought those were the most noteworthy parts. Now in here, you can also see that I have my calendar. This is always subject to change, but if students want to see when the test is coming up or when a quiz is coming up, they can click on this and they can see the up-to-date information on what I'm planning as we move forward. Another really helpful thing, if a student is gone for a sporting event, or if they're sick, or if they're gone on vacation or something like that, I have all of my videos recorded. COVID was very taxing on all of us, but one really nice thing is that I ended up recording all my videos when we were online, and I still have those. In addition to the students watching them if they're gone, if they're struggling at all or if they missed something in a lesson, but they were there, they can always click on the videos and fast forward to the part that they did not understand and get a second look at it, or watch part of the video before coming to class so that they can solidify their understanding when they get to class. Let me go ahead and show you what a homework assignment would look like. Google Classroom for me is where I post all my stuff, but I do not actually grade inside of Google Classroom. I put grades directly into Infinite Campus. Google Classroom is more of a place where I just post assignments so that they're accessible from home. Here is an assignment right here for 1.4, was a lesson we just did a little while ago. As you can see, it's pretty short. My homeworks are usually between 8 and 10 problems and should take between 50 and max 30 minutes. If you're seeing that your child is taking much more than 30 minutes, I would ask you that you please have them come talk to me and we could figure out what's going on, because these homeworks are crafted to be meant to only take about 15 to 30 minutes, as I said. When students are taking about 7 hours of their day at school, I don't like the idea of them having to do several hours when they get home. So this is a very specific, pointed version of practice for them. If students would prefer to have a book, all of my note packets are based off of the Common Core Geometry book from Pearson. They're welcome to check out a book and bring it home with them. We don't assign homework out of it or anything, but some students just like to have a physical copy of something that they can refer to. So, as I said, you can see all my homework assignments here. What students do is they take a picture of their homework and submit it. That way there's a digital copy that lives in Google Classroom, and I can take a peek at the beginning of the period just to make sure that they have it completed, and then later on I'm able to look over their homework and try to find the specifics about what they might be struggling on or what they've mastered. So let me go ahead and jump back over to here. So some information about my class. It's if you look at the diagram at the top here, you can see that there is an overlap of pre-algebra and algebra 1, and an overlap of algebra 1 and algebra 2, and there's also another one between algebra 2 and pre-calc. What that means is usually the end of one course is the beginning of the other. And that means that students have kind of a nice ease into the new course. Now, as you see in the bottom, there is no real overlap of Algebra 1 and geometry. I do sprinkle algebra throughout geometry so they don't forget it before Algebra 2, but for the most part, day 1 of geometry is all new material, all new notation, and it's just a very different class than all of the math classes they've taken before. What I mean by this is in most other math classes, they would never have to memorize definitions or write a paragraph proof or put a bunch of logical reasoning into like I said, a paragraph. But they do have to do that in geometry. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword. It's nice because some students who've struggled all through the algebra courses do really well just naturally in geometry. On the other side, some students who did really well in algebra struggle for their first time ever in geometry. So, like I said, it's kind of a different beast. I find that geometry is much more of a thinking class than a doing class. So in algebra, a lot of it has to do with formulas and step-by-step methods that students can memorize and learn how to mimic, whereas geometry is much more thinking. You have to think through logical processes. You have to take things from earlier in the year and put it into proofs later in the year. A way that I like to explain it is if algebra was a woodshop class, it'd be kind of like if the students learned how to make a pine birdhouse in their actual class, and when they were done building it, they painted it blue. And then on a test or a quiz, if it was an algebra class, it would be making another birdhouse, but this time not doing pine, doing oak. My point here is that it is pretty much a step-by-step process, and they just need to remember the steps. Now, geometry, on the other hand, would be like if I taught them how to use the saw, the hammer, the screwdriver, and everything to make a birdhouse in class, and then when they got to the homework or the test, they were asked to make a cuckoo clock. Now, a lot of students would say, we never learned how to do this, but in reality, I had taught them how to use the screwdriver, the hammer, the saw. I've taught them how to use all the tools. And just like that in geometry, I'm teaching them how to use tools, and they have to adapt those tools to new types of problems. So the next thing I wanted to tell you about was some of the resources that students have for help. Obviously, I am their number one person that they can come to. They can come before school as long as I know that they're going to be coming in so that I don't plan to be making copies or anything like that. My study hall is fourth period. So if any of them have a fourth period study hall, they're more than welcome to come in and get help from me then. I can't give up my lunch period every single day, but I'm happy to help students here or there during my lunch period if that works best for them. And then also they can find me after school in my room. Another thing is that all of my notes, as I said, and all the videos are online, so that's a great resource. In addition to that, there's just so many resources online. When I was growing up, it basically, you learned everything in class, whereas students nowadays have their phone in their pockets, and there's just so many videos and Khan Academy and so many different places they can be getting help. In addition to that, we actually have a full-time math specialist, and she works with students during their study halls. So all they have to do is ask their study hall teacher if they can go see Mrs. Tucker, the math specialist, and she is found in the lobby of the high school building. And she works with all different students from sixth grade math all the way up to calculus if they need help. And she kind of works with them in a group setting. So she'll work with some geometry kiddos and get them started, and then work with algebra 2, and then go to some kids in algebra 1, and come back to geometry. And she's just amazing. She's very approachable and explains things super, super clearly. I definitely recommend, even if your child doesn't need help right now, I would recommend that you encourage them to go just meet her. And that way they've already made that connection just in case they do run into some trouble later on. And the last thing I wanted to tell you about was we have something called Math Help Hour, and that is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 3:25 until 4:15. And that is hosted by different math teachers each day. So your child could go kind of meet all of the different teachers and then figure out which one they work with best. And it would just be a different person to show a different approach to the problems. Now, Once again, I apologize for not being able to be there. I just wanted to give you my email address. It's pgallagher@northlandprep.org. If you ever have any questions or concerns, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'm really looking forward to a fruitful year and introducing your kiddos to a different type of math that they have not been exposed to yet. Thanks again for watching the video.